As you probably know by now, Pokemon Legends ZA is full of a lot of really interesting lore, secrets, and cool Easter eggs and references, but there's also some stuff in that regard that's really cool, but really easy to miss. So in this video, I'm going to be going over some really cool details in Pokemon Legends ZA that you didn't notice. To begin, we're going to start towards the beginning of the game itself and talk about Zack. Zack is a punching bag, as he is rank Z in the ZA Royale and is the very first person that you fight in a promotion match. The fact that he's rank Z is kind of made into a joke for his character though, as he's always talking about how he's the best taxi driver and is gonna be the best trainer, even though he's actually the worst. Well, in addition to being a funny joke character, Zack is also a pretty interesting deep cut reference, as he is most likely a reference to Glass Joe from the Punch-Out series. Both characters are the first ones that you face in their respective games, both of which feature a ranking system where you climb up the ranks with each battle. Additionally, both characters are mentioned to have lost 99 battles in a row prior to battling them, and lose their 100th in a row when the player beats them. And finally, for the cherry on top, Glass Joe is mentioned to be from Paris, France, which is the inspiration for Lumiose City, where Legends ZA takes place. After you defeat Zack in the ZA Royale, your next opponents in the Y rank and X rank are Yvonne and Zavi respectively, and like Zack, they might have a neat little Easter egg snuck into their characters as well. To start, the obvious theming behind them is that the first letter of their names match their rank, but the other interesting thing about their names is that they could possibly be a reference to the pre-release names of Calum and Serena from Pokemon X and Y, as prior to the release of X and Y, they were also known as Xavier and Yvonne. When you get to the point in the game where you reach Lysandre Labs, you get a chance to explore the abandoned headquarters of Team Flare before they disbanded. And one cool detail that you can find here, if you take the time to look closely, is that the original Pokemon menu sprites from Pokemon Red and Blue can be seen on some of the whiteboards in the lab. Speaking of Lysandre, by the way, one character that is connected to him is Corbeau, as it's mentioned in the story of ZA that Lysandre once supported Corbeau when he didn't have anyone else to do so, and therefore, Corbeau deeply admires Lysandre and there's a legitimate connection between the two. With that said, this relationship is actually inspired by Norse mythology, with Lysandre being based on Odin, with the one eye, white hair, and status as a wanderer, and Corbeau being based on Hugin and Munin, whose names I probably just mispronounced, but who are two ravens that act as Odin's messengers. Corbeau's name comes from the French word for crow, and is probably why he is the leader of the Rust Syndicate in the first place, as the Rust Syndicate is a mafia-like organization that, like any typical mafia, specializes in gathering and knowing information about Lumiose City and its residents, just like Odin's ravens. And since Odin had two ravens and not just one, this also means that Philippe is likely inspired by this as well, since Philippe was also once supported by Lysandre, just like Corbeau, and this is probably why he uses Skarmory, a bird Pokemon, as his ace. Meanwhile, Corbeau uses Scolipede as his ace, and this is actually referenced in his design in a subtle way that you may have missed, as the bridge of his glasses actually resembles this marking on Venipede above its head, with Venipede, of course, being the pre-evolution of Scolipede. One other thing I want to mention about Lysandre is something that's really just a thought on my part, so it's not confirmed or anything, but I do think there is something to it, so I wanted to mention it. And that has to do with Lysandre's eyes. Obviously, in ZA, he loses the sight in one of his eyes, and I think there is some thematic subtext going on here that connects all the way back to Pokemon X and Y. If you take a look at Lysandre and Team Flare, Lysandre is the only person in all of Team Flare whose eyes are not covered. The grunts and the admins are all wearing stuff that covers their eyes, and even a character like Malva, who is a part of Team Flare but doesn't really participate in their plan during the game, is wearing glasses and therefore still has her eyes somewhat covered. I feel like this is supposed to be symbolic because it's symbolizing Lysandre as the one who has the vision of a more beautiful world, while the rest of Team Flare have their eyes covered and are blindly following him. Well, if you fast forward to Legend ZA, Lysandre loses his vision, both literally with his eye and figuratively with his change of character, and as we can see, Team Flare has since disbanded as a result. This even extends further though with Team Flare Nouveau, because Grisham and Grizel are also both wearing glasses, but they're the type of glasses with clear frames that allow you to still see their eyes, which symbolizes how they're still loyal to the cause of Team Flare, but end up seeing the flaws in Lysandre's plan along the way. Like I said, none of this is confirmed or anything, but it's some really deep symbolism that, to me, feels like it was at least somewhat intentional. If you've made it this far into the video, I am sure you're enjoying it, which I appreciate a ton, so I wanted to give a real quick plug for my merch store, as it is a great way to support the channel if you enjoy the content here, and everything is also about to be on sale. Starting Wednesday, November 26th, and running through Black Friday weekend till December 2nd, everything in my merch store is 15% off. The Fulkachi plush with a limited edition promo card, the Narwade plush, the trading cards, everything. All you gotta do is use code BFCM2025 at checkout and you're good to go. But remember, this is only going to last through the Black Friday weekend. So give it a look with the link in the description, pick up something for yourself or as a gift, get a deal on it, and support the channel all at the same time. It is a Mega Evolution sized win all the way around. So yeah, give that a look with the link in the description, and now let's get back to the video. Now, this next one is a little more speculative, but it is also a pretty deep-cut reference to one of the most infamous things in Pokemon X and Y, the Lumiose Ghost Girl. While there sadly isn't an explicit event in ZA tied to the Ghost Girl, there are a couple of references made to her, including one that I feel like most people have probably missed, and that has to do with Ivor and Gwyn. Ivor and Gwyn are brother and sister and head up the Fist of Justice, one of the various organizations in the game. And I believe that their characters are actually a direct reference to the Ghost Girl. The obvious connection here concerns Gwyn, as she is obviously a girl and specializes in ghost types, so there is some legitimate correlation there already. But at the same time, there are a lot of girls who specialize in ghost types out there, so this doesn't really mean a whole lot on its own. What really ends up sealing the deal on this reference, at least in my mind, is Ivor, because Ivor specializes in fighting types and operates the Justice Dojo, which is the fighting dojo that serves as the headquarters for the Fist of Justice. Well, turning our attention back to the Lumiose Ghost Girl, she can be found in X and Y on the second floor of a building in the North Boulevard. And if you go to the third floor of that same building, you will find a fighting dojo. Most people probably don't even remember this being here at all, with the Ghost Girl taking all of the attention, which makes Ivor and Gwyn a very, very clever reference and a really cool attention to detail. Something else that's both cool and tragic at the same time comes from outside of the playable experience of the game. You've probably heard by now about the Terra leak that revealed a bunch of beta materials about older Pokemon games, but also had access to new games too, including Legend ZA. Well, it's since been revealed that at one point, riding Pokémon were going to be in the game, with the player being able to ride around the city on Go-Goat. Additionally, while I cannot verify this myself as I have not been able to find any screenshots or anything like that about it, there are also reports that you would have been able to use Talonflame in order to glide, Lucario in order to jump between buildings, and even Alakazam to teleport between various locations. If true at all, that is obviously a monumental loss to this game. And even if it was just Go-Goat that was rideable, that would have also been a terrible loss as well. It's definitely still cool to learn about for sure, and I'm sure that Game Freak have their reasons for cutting it, and they evidently did at the very least try to make it work, but with the lack of ride Pokemon being one of my personal critiques about the game, it definitely is disappointing to know that ride Pokemon were this close to being in the game, but just didn't make it in. One thing that you probably wouldn't be expecting to see in Pokemon Legends ZA is a reference to Ash Ketchum, because after all, his character has been retired from the anime for a few years now. However, believe it or not, there is what appears to be a direct reference to Ash in one of the side missions of this game. Near Centrico Plaza, there is a side quest called The World's Greatest Pikachu, where a kid wants to have a one-on-one battle with you with just Pikachu. It's not exactly a one-to-one recreation, but if you take a close look at this kid, he actually looks very similar to Ash, as he has the same hair color and an outfit that has all of the same kind of colors and tones, and overall just looks very similar to Ash's original outfit from the Kanto arc of the anime. When you couple that with the Pikachu element of this side quest, it does seem to indeed be the case that Game Freak is actually making a sly nod to Ash here, which is really cool. That is all I've got for this one though, so if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, let me know all your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more. I'll be back with another video soon, and until then, as always, thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I will smell you guys later.